Yes, it does appear that we are live on this, the third episode to be of WhoTF Live. This is not the intro. I will run an intro in a few moments once we've got a few people here, because I've made a new intro and I want a lot of people to see it if possible. So we'll wait until until a few people are here and we can run the intro, and then that'll be the branding that we'll be going with for the foreseeable future, because this is a Doctor Who show and it needs a Doctor Who related intro instead of just using the same crap that I've been using for all my other streams. Oh dear, Doctor Who's a mess right now. And hello everybody in the chat. I can see you coming in. Well, we got 7. So we say when we got 10, maybe we'll run the intro. What do you reckon, boys?
Oh, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So we got plenty to talk about, of course. In the meantime, I'm just thoroughly confused because I've been offline for 5 days. And then before that, I had another thing that went wrong. So I haven't been able to really catch up with any Doctor Who. So I had to ask you guys to send me what you know has been going on so that I can catch up. And oh damn it, we had 9 for a second there, almost there, back down to 7. Stick around, boys, if you want to see something cool. Yeah, we got I got so much like news that's been going on about Doctor Who, but it's been like 2 weeks. I haven't been able to keep up with any of it or make any videos about it. So there's just a ton of stuff to talk about. So if there's anything else that you guys want to bring to the table today, please, for the love of God, just shout it out, send me a link, and we'll try and fit it in, because I don't even know if we'll get to talking about end of the world. Ooh. But that's 10 people, so that's good enough for me. What do you reckon? We'll start this stream off properly now, yeah?
Sure.
All right, guys, I thought you might like to see the all new intro to this show that was made by me, so enjoy.
Start the car.
It's WhoTF Live!
My goodness. I have no shoulders, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, I should just do this.
Yeah, I didn't have much to work with because both of you guys were asleep and I needed pictures of you for the animation. So maybe I can improve it later. But for now, that's our intro. I like it a lot. It has us, yes, don't make any mistake, blowing up Planet Gay, Planet Pride, and I couldn't care less about that. So what do you think, boys?
No, that was amazing. That was really good, actually. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, I used to edit for years and years and years. I've been an editor, so I even won awards for it. So it was really nice to get something to sink my teeth into instead of like a 5-minute edit for the usual videos where you just slap on your bumpers and a bug and then put it out. This is like I've got to start from scratch. I've got to animate things, It was fun. But anyway, yes, this is WhoTF Live episode 3. Welcome to the show. My name is Will. I am your host, Will of the Fan. See what I did there? As always, I am joined by my 2 erstwhile compatriots, Mr. Ryan Rogerathe and Mr. Golden Age Geek. Ryan, say hello, my friend.
Well, hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, and it's great to see you all watching today. A nice, solid start as Will gets back into the live streaming fray, just as I am exiting the stage, because I won't be making any shows next week, because, I'm going insane with all these scheduled shows. But, yeah, it is great to be here. It's good to have Will back. It's good to see Goldy and his black kitty, because I can't say the other word for some reason. But yeah, highlighting the problem with Doctor Who, latest and greatest in Doctor Who news, which I'm sure that Goldy can provide, because in all honesty, folks, I give Doctor Who a wide berth. And hopefully we do talk about the end of the world, because that sort of parallels to what's going on in the real world in recent days. So yeah,
I guess we'll see. Hello, Goldy.
Howdy. Yeah,
How you
me
doing, man?
recently I've done some videos regarding some other topics such as Star Wars Outlaws and some other Gamergate stuff, but I'm excited to be back talking about Doctor Who and all the crap going on with that. But I mean, in my spare time, and I forgot to say this the last time we were live, I've actually been planning out my own sort of alternate series. I've been writing some pages of a script of a first episode that I, if I was actually in charge, that I would actually produce. So I've actually had a lot of fun writing those scripts and coming up with some ideas. Yeah, but we're here and I'm excited.
Fantastic. I want to see that, because a lot of people talk about how bad it is, but very few people offer any actual solutions. So I like to see, even when it's wrestling, like fantasy booking, I'd say fantasy rewrites are the next best thing. So that would be really cool to see. And shout out for the mods who are in the chat. We've got T-Jap Steve and Adam Juneman here. Hello, guys. And I can see Rev Ravenwolf, Divining Dragon. Hello. Nice to see you guys in the chat. So we've got a few things that we need to talk about. Quite a few as it goes, because we've missed so much shit in the time that I was offline. Where do you want to start? We've got the episode titles for season 114 or 40, depending on your era, and what they might possibly mean. And we also have what the hell is going on with Millie Gibson's character, Ruby Sunday, because I'm hearing some mad theories at the moment.
Well, maybe we should start. Maybe we should start as the title of this stream suggests. Start with the first bit, then the second, then the third. In that regard. So new episodes. How many? 6, 8, 25? I have no idea.
Please. 8, I think. Is that right, Goldy? 8 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a strange number. I remember back when
the Christmas special for this year isn't credited on that list, so we can assume that it will be 9 that we're getting this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 9 in total, including Church on Ruby Road, yeah. Because it's not listed.
I mean Series 14's Christmas.
Oh, you
special.
mean the next Christmas episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I forgot about that. We'll have to go through that hell again. Just during the holiday season, that was my big comeback to Doctor Who, reviewing the Church on Ruby Road. And, it wasn't as bad as Chibnall's stuff, I have to say, but it was still pretty appalling. I don't know what you guys thought of it at the time.
Goblin episode. Let's sing about eating children. Let's have a wonderful time. We got to take on the Black Doctor and his white wife. Num, num.
Goldy, did you have any unresolved resentment for the Church on Ruby Road you'd like to air before we get into this?
Well, in my review, I stated that I thought it was a very okay episode, but I said if we hadn't had all the stuff from the Chibnall era and the 60th anniversary specials, would I have considered it okay, or would it have been trash? Is it because all the other stuff's been so bad that I think it's okay, or is it actually up to that level? But I mean, I've said this for a while. I think there will be a lot of highs and lows with this era, in the sense that Russell, unlike Chibnall, is actually a competent writer when he is actually controlled, when he's in a controlled environment, when he knows his rules and boundaries. So I think from that level, he'll be able to do objectively better writing. But then I think the message is going to be more prevalent as well. So I think we're going to have higher highs than the Chibnall era, but lower lows.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he seems to be even more militantly progressive, Marxist, woke, whatever you want to call it, than Chibnall even was. He was really just a feminist.
Every interview that Russell's done since he's come back has given me the impression of, okay, what I did before, that was kind of what the BBC wanted me to do. I was held back. This is me. This is what I really want. This is how I would have done Doctor if I didn't have all those restrictions back then.
God, can you imagine? That show would have died like a dog in the dirt. That would never have got to where it is. We would probably not even have seen Tennant. And there's no way Eccleston would have stuck around for even one series of that. That would have been a tragedy. Oh, God. Yeah, there was a much saner time, even in 2005, when everyone was actually tolerant, if you remember. That was around about the era when we had shows on TV like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and stuff like that were, gay. But everyone was like, oh, whatever, it's fine. They're amusing.
I know
Everyone was
Ryan
fine.
loved that back in the day.
Yeah, how old were you in 2005, Ryan? Like 6?
Yes.
My God, I was right. Well, at least they didn't get to you. Now they would.
You see, I have no concept of this tolerant era because I was too young to experience it. This is the era I grew up in, in the late 2000s, 2010s, and it's just like, you fuckers have shat on everything. Yeah, if you do have graves, I will piss on all of them.
And demonetized. Thanks, man. No, it's all good. But we're always demonetized on this stream, so it doesn't matter anyway. We'll get support from somewhere, I'm sure. Anyway, yeah, so the episode titles for season 1, or 14, or 40 have been revealed. And for the benefit of Adam Juneman, who's not a Doctor Who aficionado, but has expressed interest in learning, the original series ran from 1963 until 1989. And so they had 26 seasons, right? Then it was off the air for 16 years. They made a movie, the American TV movie. Then the show came back in 2005 and had what we had now, 13 seasons, right? Which adds up to 39. So if you're a real old school Doctor Who fan, this is season 40. If you started with the revival in 2005, this is season 14. And if you're a brain dead Disnoid who has never heard of Doctor Who and probably won't watch the show anyway, it's season 1. Simple. Sort of. Damn. It's about as easy to understand as the concept of timey-wimey. But oh well.
The whole idea of this starting it back again at season 1 for the Disney audience is absolutely pathetic because, I mean, the 60th anniversary specials were on Disney Plus. So if someone's never seen it before and they click on Doctor on Disney Plus, they're going to be immediately meted with the 60th anniversary specials, which are reliant on you having watched previous material. It's not as if you can just jump into those like as an introductory point. So the entire reasoning is pointless.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. I mean, you are required basically to have some basic understanding of the things that the Doctor has lived through and been through and seen, which inform the decisions that he makes, usually anyway. I mean, we have no idea what's coming with this series because they've thrown the baby out with the bathwater by having them bi-generate. And they're also allowing almost any backdoor entrance, pardon the pun, to bring any Doctor they want back into the fold. Because they now all didn't die when they regenerated.
I think the reason that this was done was to mark a new era. So officially there are 3 eras of Doctor Who, whether we like it or not. For some, one era is still continuing, whereas for others, a new era has dawned. Doctor Who is now Disney Who. We've gone from classic Who to new Disney Who to Disney Who to Who Is This? As it's
WhoTF. Yeah, this is one of the reasons I decided to keep the TF branding in this show, because it's like WhoTF is this, because it sure as hell ain't the Doctor. He doesn't put on a skirt and go dancing I'm not doing it again. I'm not.
Give me the lovin'.
Super 8.
Give me the lovin'. Super 8. Yeah, that was the fucking funny shit, man. Oh my God, yeah.
And it would have been great for his Doctor as well as an introduction, curing super AIDS, but somehow not being able to cure AIDS because of the time thing. It would be so good.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous at this point, trying to expect people to keep up with the lore, but also completely disregarding the lore. But you can't disregard the lore in Doctor Who, even if you have a different actor. I mean, even like Matt Smith would refer to things that Tennant had experienced, even like Rose, for example, but not very often because Moffat really wanted to get away from all of that and have his own thing. But he did still occasionally point out the fact that there was a war, that everyone died. He just didn't have, the grungy phase that David Tennant had where he was constantly obsessing over it. But yeah, so there's an attempt here to obviously mark off a new era, and it's really clunky. I think it's really clunky. Like there's a reason why Disney cannot retcon their crappy trilogy of Star Wars movies, because to do so would be like a giant red flag to everybody. You'd forever have to go, oh, but which sequels are you talking about? Are you talking about? It's like already where people are annoyed because there's the EU and then there's the Disney shit. So there are already two futures after Return of the Jedi. And now if they were to suddenly decide, oh, well, we're going to make a whole new saga, but we're going to call it episode 10, but it's going to have nothing to do with anything that came before. It's like, and this is what they're doing with Doctor Who. They're just like, oh, it's season 1, but you better watch the other 13 seasons before. And if you want, maybe even the 26 before that. But it's season 1. It's definitely got nothing to do with anything. I mean, they're oh, God. I'm not even going to get into this. It's as bad as trying to count how many David Tennants exist like we did last time.
8 episodes, though, 8 or 9, if you add the Christmas special. It's not enough. You can't have 8 or 9 1-hour episodes and try to have like a Disney Plus style limited series. This isn't Obi-Wan Kenobi. This isn't The Mandalorian when it got bad. This isn't the Book of Boba Fett. This is Doctor Who. You cannot put the worst bits of television series with the worst bits of movies and bring them together and expect it to work with Doctor Who. And are there going to be commercials in this?
I don't know. Disney's playing around with stuff like that, so they might. But I hope not. That would be really awful. It's bad enough that they're not prioritizing the UK with the release timing. But, I mean, the 8-episode thing, there's a couple of reasons it doesn't make sense. I mean, first of all, it was always 13 because they had to think of scheduling in the UK, right? So 52 weeks of the year divided by 13, right? So that's fine. I understand why there were always 13 in a series. But now it's just like randomly 8 because it's prioritizing streaming. That's going to mess up any scheduling that's going on. And you can't really tell a cohesive story. Like they used to have 5-episode arcs a couple of times in a series. That's how the first series was. There were plenty of other like 4 or 5 episode arcs. I miss those. But now, I mean, how are you supposed? I bet there's no 2-parters, right? Almost certainly there's no 2-parters in this because there's only 8 stories you can tell. I mean, maybe they'll be interconnected because RTD seems to have written about half or 2/3 of the series. But let's get into the titles anyway, because that's what we are
it has
here
to be an arc. In order to have a cohesive story from start to finish, they can't use the episodic model. They have to start off with a small bad that supports a big bad, and then they try to take on the big bad over the course of 8 episodes. Because you can't do a 1 episode at a time run and then have a big finale in 8 episodes, because there's no build up to it.
That's it.
I think what the mystery will be, or sort of what they're going to build up to, is the reveal of Ruby's mother, who the cloaked woman was in the Christmas special. I think that's going to be the running thing throughout this season.
I will get to that. Trust me, there's plenty to dive into on theories about that rubbish. We'll see how it goes. Before we get in, though, I do want to just make mention of the fact that Mephisto X get a £5 super chat. That's real money. Here's a little support. Thank you very, very much indeed. Much appreciated. All you said was here's a little support, though. You could feel free to ask a question or anything you want, and we'll be happy to answer them, of course. But then let's get on, shall we? Because we have a lot to cover. The first thing, of course, is the fact that they revealed, and this is the Nerdist first, and then I'll be going to a link that you sent me, Goldy, that has much more info. But for the sake of this little video that's embedded in here, I don't know if you've seen this, guys, but this is cringe. So Doctor Who reveals season 1 episode titles and brand new trailer. This was before the second trailer came out that we all reacted to individually, I think. Just terrible, just appalling. But here's the names of the episodes then. So what do we think? We've got Space Babies.
They have a weird obsession with I have a weird obsession with babies. The Church on Ruby Road, it was a baby getting taken by the goblins. This one, it's another set of babies with a monster. It's very strange.
I know, yeah. Whatever happened to the show that gave us episode names like Asylum of the Daleks?
Or simply Dalek.
Or just Dalek, yeah, when he found that one that had survived the war, yeah, and he was so fucking angry because he wanted to wipe them all out because all the Time Lords were wiped out. That was mostly for Juneman's benefit there, by the way. That little expository dump that I didn't need to do. So space babies. What the fuck does that mean? I think I've seen a shot of literal just babies on a space station. Is there any other significant thing about this that you guys know? Or
are the goblins coming back to get their revenge?
I don't think so. They were freaking wiped out. They were genocided. Like, do you not remember? That was like the only good bit of the Church on Ruby Road.
Damn.
And then the Doctor went and pulled a move he would never, ever pull and just wiped out a race that he barely understood without asking any questions.
How Rwandan of him.
Oh, I see what you did there. Anyway, what we got next? We've got the episode 2, which will most likely be where most people will tag out, I reckon. We maybe should put a bet.
It's the musical one with Jinx Monsoon.
With Pink's Monsoon, yeah.
And Space Babies and The Devil's Cord are airing together. They're airing 2 episodes at once.
Oh, yes, they are, aren't they? They're both coming out on May 10th. Did I see that? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's May 10th and then May 11th in the UK.
Right, okay. I see. Of course it is, because that's what they do. Yeah, May 10th. So we're going to get Space Babies. Space Babies. They're like babies in space. Like, what the fuck? It's a space baby. All right, whatever. Then we've got the episode that they are hoping. If you look at the way they've released these in the order they're releasing them, and assuming that they're not interconnected, you've then desperately planned to lose an incredible amount of your audience when they reveal Jinx Monsoon as a character. And so the next thing they pull out is what? Of course, it's the Moffat episode. The most celebrated writer of modern Doctor Who, the Curse of Fatal Death author, the creator of the Weeping Angels. Have
you never seen that, Ryan?
No, I'm 24.
Oh man,
I've seen it, and I'm younger than you. It's on YouTube.
Hey, you have access to free time, a social life, and a nice profile picture. I have none of those. So.
You know what? If we get through the stuff fast enough, and maybe we get a few more super chats, maybe we'll just do a reaction to the Curse of Fatal Death.
The best title for this lineup is Boom, because we had Boomtown when the surviving Slitheen, the bottleneck episode, in Cardiff Bay, because they ran out of money with the special effects for End of the World, so they had to have an episode like that. Turned out to be a stellar episode, but come on, Rise of the Super AIDS would beat all of these titles. And the Age of AIDS would also
the Age of AIDS. Oh my God,
a good two-parter. You take something that exists like Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel. You take the Cybermen out, you put the Super AIDS in, or the AIDS in, and it'd be a good story for this Doctor, because it's clearly a homosexual. Clearly.
I mean, yeah, that much is as clear as day, isn't it? Well, I think the Boom title is potentially very good if Moffat has brought his sense of humor to it. He did a lot of titles that had silly names, but turned out to be fantastic, like Blink and things like that. But I am also a little worried that it sounds a bit like the episode from Jodie Whittaker's first series, season 11. That was a one word in there as well. It was like an Amazon ripoff in space or something. Kablam, that was it, yeah. That's kind of scarred me against any kind of single word sound effect names for episodes of TV shows. I know it's a bit niche, but that's the effect it had on me.
To be fair, that was the best episode of that damn season, in my view.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, but the whole series was gutter trash
Mm.
compared to even the worst that we'd seen before that. Okay, so then we've got 73 yards, which I know absolutely nothing about, but
This
TJ
one is
Steve
what
says
they're
it's
promoting.
racist. Well, that people
73
don't have a
yards is
yard.
what they're promoting as like the dark horror episode.
Okay.
And in the trailer, there's sort of, I think there was a YouTube video I saw where someone sort of pieced together all the clips from the trailers and have sort of put them in chronological order and predicted which episodes they're going to be in. And the
Right.
ones which they think are going to be in 73 yards is very dark setting. I think there's like an old school British pub, and it looks very spooky. So I think from that aspect, if it's a much darker episode and they sort of move away from the humor and sort of, you know, be a bit more serious with it, I think I could appreciate a lot of that episode.
Oh, well, 73 yards is 66.7 meters, so they could have just called it 66.6 meters and could have done it like that. But no, they don't even want to be on the nose with it because they are devil worshippers.
Just straight in there with devil worship. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. 73 yards then. I guess I'll glean something when we watch the clip in a minute. Then we've got Dot and Bubble.
This one. This one was, because when I read through the Screen Rant article, this one I had no clue was going to be in this season. So from what they put in their description, this episode looks to be sort of like a Black Mirror type episode where they sort of put a social commentary on virtual reality and wearable technology and that sort of thing. And they're predicting that it's going to be one of those what are they called? Doctor Light episodes, like Blink, where the Doctor's only featured for a small bit of time, or you know,
maybe
one of
those
internet
can be good. Those can be great. They can also be shit. We've seen Blink, but we also had Love and Monsters.
I know that was awful, but maybe the
I am a
internet-
Love and Monsters defender.
Oh no, we can't have that.
You're pro Clom.
Oh.
You're pro Absorbaloff. Oh, for God's sake.
Dot
All right.
and bubble indicates the internet. It indicates, you know, content creators. So maybe the power of the creator defeated the Doctor and trapped him in internet form. And then Ruby Sunday has to go curb crawling in order to get information to free the Doctor from content creator prison. And then he just vaporizes all of us and gets us mass deplatformed, and that's how the Doctor and the bubble were.
You think Ruby Sunday's going to go curb crawling?
Well, what's her rate?
They should have called the episode reality based.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. So you think Ruby Sunday's going to go on the game, basically?
Well, she's got to save the day somehow, and I don't think her brain is going to save the day. So maybe she goes undercover. She tries to set up an OnlyFans page to lure in people, and that's how she gets the information to save the Doctor. And then he just calls. He calls Google and he's like, we gotta get rid of these people. Uses his sonic pad, and then all of our channels are terminated, and that's how he beats us. Yeah.
I see. Right. Okay. So you think that Ruby Sunday, who, despite being played by Millie Gibson, is quite a nice girl, she's going to transform and become like this then?
Well, how else is she going to infiltrate the radical online space other than to be an OnlyFans model?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. She-Hulk was also made by Disney, and the final episode was literally a jab at content creators and internet critics, wasn't it? You had to make fun of like Doomcock and people like that. So.
That was literally the end of my association. Yes, thank God somebody else finally said it. She is hot. I don't care. She's a little chavvy, but I still would. I don't know what you guys think. Oh my God, this light is
I think your light is trans.
My light can't make up its mind what color it is. It's fucking annoying. Oh well, whatever. Money down the drain, but oh well. Yes, she is hot. I'm saying it once and for all. She's hot, which is why I don't think, and this is not the only reason why I don't think, by the way, right? I don't think she's going on the game because not only is that a line I don't think even Disney would cross, or even RTD.
Mm.
I don't think it's what's the word, politically correct to have attractive women looking attractive, as we've learned from Gamergate.
Sex work is empowering for these creatures, so of
Yeah,
course
I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense, does it?
When
You
it's
can't...
in their interest, it's good. When it's not in their interest, it's bad. It's this oxymoronic way that these fuckers think, which is why I think the idea of Dot and Bubble being the Doctor taking on radical pro-human extremists online, because humanity has recently discovered aliens, and of course the establishment loves them. We hate them because, you know, they think that we're xenophobes. We probably are. And then we trap the Doctor in the Dot and Bubble so that he cannot stop us. And then Ruby Sunday has to save the day by infiltrating our group, disguised as an OnlyFans model, gets the information using her assets, because we're all incels, apparently. And then she finds the Doctor, releases him from digital prison. He then uses his sonic pad in the digital system and gets us all banned. Save the day. Yeah.
I mean, I think Will is on something, and from all the things we've seen in the trailer and all that, Shooty's the one with that zipper vest thing that's absolutely awful, and she's constantly got on jackets and hoodies and coats and constantly covered
maybe
up.
Maybe it'll be the other way around. Maybe we capture the female and he has to be a sex worker.
Oh, God. Dr. Gigolo.
They're Super AIDS.
For God's sake, this is just taking us back to Planet Super AIDS, isn't it? As a reference here, Archer Collins, excuse me, has said, "Is Ruby hot? Ask your local rabbi." I want to know if that is a reference to the rabbi from another planet YouTuber. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. I've caught a couple of his streams. He seems like a good guy. I'd like to get him on here one day, actually. He's always got AI generated hyper-sexualized versions of characters from things. It's really funny. I like his thumbnails.
When you guys are talking about, of course, like that episode possibly utilizing content creators, I thought back to in the Giggle when Russell effectively race and gender swapped Alex Jones. You know that woman from Russell's original era? You know that black news reporter woman who, you know, whenever there was a tragedy, she'd always report on it. And in the Giggle, she was like, "I'm anti-Z-Deck," sort of being like an anti, you know, person, and that he sort of made her studio look like an InfoWars studio, and he effectively race and gender swapped Alex Jones.
Remember her at all, but you're talking about the woman who reports on every like disaster. She reports on when the master kills the president and everything. Yeah, it's always the same woman, isn't it? I just kind of realized that.
If Dot and Bubble was written by Stephen Moffat, if that was the one that was written by Stephen Moffat, then I think then we could be in for a treat. I mean, Boom, from what I've seen and from what people have pieced together, it's the one where Ruby's firing a laser rifle and it looks like a lot of like dumb fun, which is not really what Moffat usually excels at. He's usually good at the more sort of darker philosophical episodes. So I think if he did Dot and Bubble, then, you know, it could have a chance of being good. I mean, Russell attempted to do social commentary in the Giggle when he was talking about cancel culture and sort of all of the population going against each other was sort of, you know, him commenting on that. And he didn't do it well because this is a guy who's literally gone on Instagram and stuff and has replied to people saying, "F off, you're a MAGA supporter, go piss off," this sort of thing. And he's the one trying to say that cancel culture is bad and we should all come together. So there's a lack of self-awareness. So he's not going to be talking about this topic objectively. It's going to just be from inside of his echo chamber.
Yeah, they always do that with the Alex Jones thing. They did it with Spider-Man as well. They basically turned Jonah Jameson into Alex Jones as well, didn't they? I think that so far they're really pitiful attempts to use the culture war without actually having to make any direct reference to the culture war has led to just this clunky, awful attempt. Like the Giggle was appalling because it didn't. Everyone was just furious and with self-righteousness at each other, and there was no explanation of why, really, like what they were. So
no, because if there was an explanation, the establishment would have to take accountability that the toy maker and his chaotic ways would never have made manifest if the Doctor and his allies would actually defend the Earth and instead of going gallivanting. The reason this chaos exists, this division exists, is because those who are in positions of power, positions of authority, have failed. And what alternatives try to do, we always try to do this. We try to fill the void and represent those who are forgotten. So, yeah, Doctor Who takes on the forgotten ones. We wouldn't exist if you did your job. And I think that would make a great villain for current day Doctor Who, because it would be an acknowledgement that previous incarnations of the Doctor, but whether it's the 60th anniversary or Dr. Karen, were manifestations against what the Doctor is about. So a great episode, a great two-parter, would be the Doctor taking on either one person or a group of people who at one time supported the Doctor, saw that the Doctor went astray, and basically were like, fuck it. If he's not going to do it, we'll try our best to do it. It's like a Black Mirror version, but in a good way. We're showing you what you were at your best. You're not at your best anymore, so we'll do the job for you. We'll take your TARDIS, we'll go adventuring, and we'll go and save the universe ourselves. And it's a big bloody ship. So it's probably got enough room for thousands of people.
Much like we did in the intro I made. Okay, cool. So Dot and Bubble has potential then, I guess. Rogue, that seems to be the not quite Bridgerton one. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that episode, I don't know if you have any thoughts on the other gentleman. I believe the actor's called Jonathan Groff. I don't believe they've actually revealed the name of his character, but he looks to be, well, what I think, a time agent. I mean, he's in this period, he fits in, but we see him in some shots with a futuristic looking weapon. He has this sort of like teleporting pad, that sort of thing. So I've assumed that he's going to be a time agent. Some people have said, because of all the controversy surrounding John Barrowman, that perhaps they've recast Jack in some way, which I really hope isn't the case.
Yeah, that would be terrible. The whole point of him was that he could age indefinitely but not regenerate. That was the point. He was an accident. His life status as an immortal person was an accident, and we already saw the end of that character anyway. It might have taken trillions of years, but we saw the end of that, didn't we, with the face of Bo and all of that. And sorry, spoilers to anyone who's planning to watch Doctor Who from 10 years ago but hasn't yet. But actually it's more than that, and it's more like 17 years ago now. Jesus Christ, I'm getting old. I'm getting really old. So Rogue, I'm going to be cringing my way through all of this. First of all, they're going to play fast and loose with the court of the Regency era. I already noticed that, whereas the research that I have done into the Regency period has led me to understand that there were maybe 3 prominent people in the court who were not white. And that's out of thousands. So the same names kept coming up, and we see like 5 just in one room, in one shot in the trailer for the episode that I assume is Rogue. So they're just going to go full Bridgerton, having people that wouldn't have been where they should be, or should be different colors. And they're just fucking with history, and it drives me nuts. I hate Bridgerton.
Time has gone rogue, Will. Time has gone rogue. It's mishmashed everything. The Doctor and Ruby got to find out what's going on. Why are all these black people here?
We got to figure it out. In the chat. If that's me being racist, then fine. But I think factual accuracy is more important than pandering to a bunch of race activists. Hence why I have a channel.
Exactly. And these people always say, we need to learn from the past. We need to address all the wrongdoings from the past. But if you're erasing it, then how are people going to look at the past and go, okay, here's what was wrong? Because you're presenting it in a totally different way. So what they're doing is completely antithetical to what they claim their goal is.
Completely. You are absolutely right. As usual, they are actively perverting your view of the negative side of history that prompted their pointless crusade anyway, 60 years after it was resolved.
I wonder if, I mean, during the end of Moffat's era, his you know, there was a lot of wokeness that was creeping in there. But I wonder if, you know, the Monk trilogy, I don't know if you remember that, Extremist, The Pyramid at the End of the World. And I kind of feel like that was an allegory for SJWs, because you have these group of people that come out of nowhere, and you, as the natives of the planet Earth, have to accept them. And once you do accept them, they rewrite history, they plant themselves all throughout it and try and control your thoughts. And if you commit any wrong thing, then they take action against you. That is literally an allegory for SJWs. So I wonder if, you know, he was able to slip that in there without them sort of knowing. Because, I mean, whatever we think of them, they sort of project that onto us and think that. So he could have presented it in a different way of, oh, this is an allegory for the trolls, but really it more lines up with their behavior. So it's actually funny when you think of it that way.
It is, yeah. I actually kind of got that vibe from it when I watched it last, but that was so long ago. I can't really remember the ins and outs of the plot, but I do remember that was where I thought season 10 had potential, or series 10 had potential, with the pyramid. But, you know, again, it was just undermined by the constant slapping in the face of Bill Potts having to tell everybody she's a lesbian in every scene. So there's that. Then we get back to Russell himself. Rusty Tin Dildo has written this pair of episodes to round out the series. That's my most popular diss name for RTD, so I use it a lot now. The Legend of Ruby Sunday. Now, this sounds like it's going to be a big reveal, I guess, for her. There are a lot of rumors about who she is and what she is, and we'll get to that.
She has superpowers.
Supposedly. But how and why? And are they
the
just
placement of this episode is weird. I would assume that this episode, just judging it from the title, would be the finale. You know, because this series is it's a lot of it is about her and the mystery surrounding her. So you'd think, okay, they're going to wrap it up in the finale, but to have it as the penultimate episode and then just the Empire of Death, which is, you know, kind of a generic title, to be the finale, it just seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah,
The
does
Legend
seem
of Ruby
strange.
Sunday, with her being a main character, holds much more gravitas than just Empire of Death.
She leads it.
Maybe it's a two-parter.
Yeah, it's the big twist, Goldy. Who leads the Empire of Death? The companion.
Turns out to be London's #1 hooker, Ruby Sunday.
And she gets from Super AIDS.
This is the Empire of Death, isn't it? It's founded on. No, I'm not going down the Super AIDS rabbit hole again.
Hey,
I
it
swear
leads
to God.
to death. You can build an empire off it.
I know. That's why I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole. Okay, so we don't know much about these two episodes then so far.
Empire of Death, I don't think there's any like shots from the trailer from what people have theorized. And the Legend of Ruby Sunday, in the trailer, we have got sort of like compilations of shots of her. And I mean, this is what I've been worried about. They're going to make her into a girl boss, and they already confirmed it in the trailer when she said, all my life I've wondered what my purpose is, and it's to save the world. It's going to be another one of those, oh, she thinks she's a generic girl, but really she's this big powerful being, and she's going to lead humanity. And I'm sick and tired of that sort of, you know, I think some people have coined it as the girl who's the key to everything trope.
Yeah, it is. It was Nerdrotic, I think, who started saying it, and then eventually it just became a thing on its own. Yeah, the girl who's the key to everything. It happens in everything these days. It's so tiresome. It's really
happens a lot in Doctor Who, which is quite interesting. You know, you have Rose and you have Donna. You have, to a lesser extent, Amy and Rory. You know, her side gig. And you had it with Clara, and no one liked her for that reason. And yes, you also have it with Bill. You know, she's black and female and a lesbian. Now you're going to have it with this hooker.
Jesus Christ. So in our canon now, she's just a hoe, basically. That's what we're saying.
Yes, that's her role.
Ruby Sunday sounds like a name fitting of that.
It does. Ruby is such a
pimp. It makes so much sense. He should disguise himself as a pimp and have multiple hoe companions.
He does, doesn't he? We saw the episode where he's like all decked out in shaft gear with the fro. He looks kind of like a pimp, you know. He looks like he's, you know, she's going to be complaining something. He's going to slap her across the face and say, "Shut up, baby," you know. So,
I mean, from some set photos that I've seen, apparently Ruby's supposed to have a boyfriend this season, and that's supposed to come into it. And you know, some people naturally
only got 8
theorize that
episodes.
the Doctor's gonna develop a romantic interest in Ruby's boyfriend, which
Oh
wouldn't
God, I
surprise
heard
me.
that ages ago. Yeah, you're right. I heard that like
And
2,
according to Shooter
3 months
Gatswell, this
ago.
is from him. There will be an episode this season which is centered around his leftist bubble.
Ugh.
Or
Oh
something
yes.
of that nature. It's going to
Oh
explore
God.
his leftist liberal bubble.
I need to go back over my own videos and recap all the shit that came out. There was such an info dump of absolute trash. And yes, Adam Juman is right. If you are nice, guys, please hit that like button and do us all a favor as I try to fix my light again.
Nice.
Gatwa's episode should be Tutsi Turmoil or something. You know, set in Rwanda as the Doctor tries to stop the Rwandan genocide but fails because it's a fixed point.
I mean, that was a long time ago, yeah. So I
It was
guess
the 90s.
Yeah, I know. It's older than you.
It's 95. It's not that long ago.
I mean, it's long enough for me. Whatever, anyway, it doesn't really matter. Let's have a look at the video. Have you guys seen this yet at all?
No, I haven't.
All right, let's it's literally just 2 seconds for each episode to give you some indication of what they're about. So we can either watch the whole thing and then maybe go through it bit by bit if you want to replay it. All right, let's do it. There you go. Any immediate reactions, boys?
As I said before, 73 yards looked to be the only one I'm really interested in because of it's like darker setting and it hints that it's going to be more sort of serious. I think they're gonna sort of hold off on all the comedy and all those stupid one-liners and all those phrases like "give me the lovin'." I think this one's gonna be much more enjoyable from that aspect. Dot and Bubble, I mean, from what we saw there, because I don't think I've really seen it. It does seem to affirm the belief that this will be around technology and virtual reality and all of that.
It's got that first series Red Dwarf font going on as well, which I just like that. Aesthetically, it just reminds me of that always. I was thinking, I mean,
Xenomorph.
Yeah. Straight out of the gate, I was like, "This is a xenomorph. It's clearly the alien. The only thing it's missing is the second mouth popping out." I don't understand what we learned from this. It seems like they're going to try and do scary with episode 1, maybe because of the popularity of Stranger Things or something. We've got the Devil's Cord and a book with the name Timothy Drake. I was like, I didn't realize this was a Batman episode.
Well, according to recent news, this episode, I think this is the one, in addition to it being the musical, it's supposed to be the Beatles themed episode as well. And they did say earlier in the week that they're not going to be playing any Beatles songs because they don't have the rights to it. And that's what sort of formed the episode. It's going to explore why the Beatles haven't performed these songs or something. It's going to be because of the villain in this.
Oh, it's going to be like the song is cursed or something. Like what they did with Shakespeare with Love's Labour's One.
Love's Labor, yeah.
And then they end up just shouting Expelliarmus. My God.
Or you imagine Russell watching that back now, considering what's happening.
Oh my
with JK
God! Yeah, I thought of that.
David Tennant's like, "Good old JK," and now he's the one going, "I stand against JK. She's horrible."
Well, the Shakespeare Code is infamous rather than famous for being a very politically incorrect episode of Doctor Who.
Oh, what? Because he refers to Martha as like outdated names.
Yes. The way he tries to woo Martha is very suspect, and his doctor's like, political correctness has gone mad. Just like,
The
Where are
doctor's
you
a
now?
dick in that episode. I
He
mean,
is a
you
dick
know,
in that episode, yeah.
Martha obviously has an interest in him, and they're sort of laying down on the bed, and he says, "Oh, I wish Rose was here. She'd know what to do." And Martha's like, "Fuck this." And also, when they first get, Martha's like, "What's going to happen to me?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I'm black. Am I going to get shipped off somewhere?" And he's like, "Oh, just walk about like you own the place. It always works for me."
I mean, I kind of miss when they paid that kind of lip service to that stuff. I mean, yeah, you could go down the rabbit hole of someone kidnaps her because she's black, or I mean, they did that in the Family of Blood, where they had her working as a maid in the boarding school in 1913, and the boys who attend the school talk to her like she's a piece of trash because she's a maid, but also because she's black. I think they even had a line in there about how she can't tell when things are clean because
she looks dirty.
Yeah, well, at least you said the punchline. What do we think of Boom then? Because I think we got absolutely nothing from this.
That looks like 42.
It looks like 42.
Yeah, that's not good.
The episode that had the Hath, the Doctor's daughter, it kind of reminded me of that too.
Oh.
Or the Devil coupling of episodes, where they were at the end of the universe with Rose and then meet literally the Satan pit. That's what it is.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be set on like a gritty space station, one that looks very like mechanical and rusty and all that.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing that Moffat writes, of course. So fair enough. When he does do the sci-fi, he never writes like these pristine environments, really. Rogue, I mean, what more do I need to say? It says it's 1813, so
that's why I also think that Jonathan Groff's character is going to be a time agent, because Rogue sort of fits into that sort of rogue agent idea. He's gone away from the agency, he's gone rogue. It kind of all fits together, really.
Right. Then we get the Legend of Ruby Sunday, and we're just seeing a camera.
She gets brainwashed
Looks
by
like
alternative media.
Looks like a proper cinecam too. I don't know. Something to do with TV? No idea. And of course, this one, which is the one you're supposed to spend hours talking about, but to me, it just doesn't say anything except, are we going to dwell on like the number of deaths that have happened around the Doctor because of his lifestyle, or is it something more sinister?
Well, we did see a dying or a dead TARDIS, so maybe some clever fucker has turned the TARDIS they've captured into a paradox machine of death, and it's literally killing everyone.
I wouldn't mind seeing a paradox machine make a comeback, although it would be very difficult to write now, considering that we're all living in a paradox machine that has been created by these fucking activists. But there you go. So, I mean, some of them look like they have potential. Do we believe that any of them will be good?
No. I mean, the 60th anniversary trailer was very good, and it really did hook me in, but yeah, we saw how that went.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, I guess there's a little part of my brain that's saying they've seen the backlash. They've seen the backlash. Perhaps they'll have toned down the power messaging and attempt to get some audience back. But honestly, at this point, I'm so over all of this shit that if I see a single like catty line come out of Transmin Finney's goddamn mouth, I'm gonna lose it, and I'm just instantly gonna give the episode a 0.
Will, I'm just gonna say this teaser was wank.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, total fucking wank. So there you go. We've got a little bit more on them though from the Screen Rant article, although we're running a bit low on time now. So for this section, but we can get into it. Space Babies, they've said that there are literally a crew of talking babies aboard a spaceship. We saw the silhouette of the monster. Looks like a xenomorph. They're being hunted. Sounds like a classic Doctor Who format. Do we agree? I mean, why are they talking babies? Is that a message?
I just find the obsession with the babies quite Weird how, Church from Ruby Road babies, and then the episode immediately afterwards it's, oh, hey,
Babies.
more babies.
Yeah. And of course, we have that going on in the gaming world as well. Sweet Baby Inc., the name of the DEI consultancy company. Also, their financiers, Weird Ghosts and Baby Ghosts. There seems to be just a strong, through line of baby obsession with these, abortion happy fascists. So I don't really know what to say, except it is creepy, isn't it? And I don't really know if I want to know what exactly it's all about.
Well, it says a little bit in the article. It's a bit like Doctor Who meets Snakes on a Plane, and it's like, yep, we got these big monsters, progressives. We've got the baby crew, which is normies, and we've got Dr. Pimp and Ruby the hooker trying to save the day.
Good God. Yeah, okay. I mean, I know so little about it from these shots that I guess I have no choice but to give it a watch and then crucify the whole series based on the first 20 minutes of this, probably. I don't know. What would you say? Are we optimistic for Space Babies? No.
Yeah, I think that's also maybe why they decided to go with a 2-episode premiere, because I don't think if they just had the first one, it would have been met that well. I mean, they haven't done this before, have they? With no. I mean, they haven't really adopted streaming models before, but it's always been one episode. I don't think they've ever aired 2 in one night.
It's completely untested, this formula.
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who on streaming as a formula is untested, and I think they're doing that as a great way of not being held accountable through terrestrial television ratings.
Yeah, I mean, they are desperately trying to get away from them, aren't they? Because they can
Do you
fudge
think
the numbers
they're
as
also,
much as they want.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think because they'll be able to class the premiere as 2 episodes, so they'll be able to put both of those minutes watched together of
I
both
think
episodes to
that's
say
why,
this is what the premiere got?
Yeah, I think that is why they do that. Whenever they release a show on streaming, they always put out at least 2 episodes at the same time so that it gets more watch time and trends higher. And I don't know how their algorithms work, but I mean, it actually kind of makes sense to do that if you're desperate for people to notice this.
It's to kickstart the project, and it's to get a good rating. It's to get a good, press statement at the beginning, and then they can say, well, we've started off very well, or we've done very well, and then move on.
So Devil's Cord, episode 2, of course, we know is going to feature this monstrosity I mean, I can't believe they just did this. I mean, I'm surprised at how surprised I still get sometimes. A children's show, here's a drag queen. Okay.
Well, at least it's a villain.
That's true. That's true. I don't think you could
People
really
are theorizing that this character is actually the master, and that this piano box that they're inside is a TARDIS that has used the chameleon circuit to disguise itself. But I mean, those things always go around. When Rory was first introduced, it was, oh, Rory's a Time Lord, and Harry Potter fans at the time were like, Ron is actually Dumbledore, and just there's always wacky theories out there.
That's fucking nonsense. Yeah, we've got a few wacky theories.
That is the legend of Ruby. Yeah, Ruby
I don't
Sunday.
want to know anything about this. I don't. All right, Moffat's episode. This is Boom, of course. What do we know about this? Really, not very much. It just
if you click on that second image up there, it may give us a little look at.
Oh yeah.
See, it looks to be a sort of like fun, sort of dumb, fun, jolly episode with her just handling all these rifles and stuff,
like a bolt gun from Warhammer or something in her hands. There, it looks. What's
yeah,
that?
Look, she's got like a long sleeve, like very bulky hoodie or whatever on. Yeah.
Is that a throne or like a Davros style life support chair behind her? What the fuck?
It looks a bit like a chair.
It looks vaguely Dalek-ish. Don't know. Hey, whatever. It could be good. It's Moffat. I'm pretty convinced that the man can't really write anything bad.
And
Despite
she can't aim,
having
clearly.
to toe the line. Well, she's smiling as she's firing it, right? So I don't know. Don't know. Could end up being the best episode. It is Moffat. I'm kind of thinking it automatically will be the best episode because it always was, but this is a different era. I could be wrong. What do you guys think?
Well, if Moffat was in the right mind and he hasn't been heavily restricted by Russell, then perhaps we could get a good one. I mean, I've always said I'm sure Moffat believes in all this stuff, but I don't think he wanted it to get in the way of his writing until the BBC actually stepped in. So if Russell said, right, Stephen, I want you to come back, I want you to write me a story, you know, go off and do it, then I think we could actually get a good one. But if he said, right, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this, okay, you take those notes and you go off, then I think if that's the case, then we could see some sprinkles of like the Moffat magic in there, but I think we'll, you know, have a lot of the DEI woke stuff in there as well. Yeah. You know, maybe Ruby uses the gun and the Doctor's like, no, guns are bad. We must remove the Second Amendment from America and things like that.
Oh my God, it's going to be like that. No, please, God, no. All right, let's carry on. Let's get through these because then I want to do something a little bit of fun, I guess. 73 yards, scary tavern looking sign, maybe a hotel or something. It's a pub, looks like an old village pub. Why would it have the name 73 yards? I mean, any thoughts?
Well, 66.7 meters, you know, the devil has taken over a pub, and yeah, you're going to try and stop him.
Is that actually a thing that they've mentioned at all here?
No, but 73 yards is equivalent to 66.7 meters.
Right, so 66.
How do you know that? Is that some common fact that I should know?
No.
Well, I checked on
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
He just has that kind of mind, man. He has files on all of us. I like Ryan's attention to detail, actually. It's pretty much his best quality. Do I not know that woman's face?
No. She looks familiar, but the promotional pictures... The promotional pictures only featuring her kind of does suggest a Dr. Light episode. Which
should be the best episode. The best episode of this season of Doctor Who isn't going to have the fucking Doctor in it.
Yeah.
I mean, Blink was the best episode, really, of Series 3. The best standalone.
I've always been a fan of Human Nature, Family of Blood. That is my favorite New Who story.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I thought that was season 4.
But Blink is really good. It's just I don't really like when people put Blink up on a pedestal with this is the best Doctor Who episode, because while I think it's a really good episode of Doctor Who, I don't really think it encompasses what Doctor Who usually represents with the character of the Doctor. So, but no, it is a great episode nonetheless. It's just
actually, I don't think I can say Blink is the best now that I remember that Family of Blood and Human Nature are in the same series, because they are like true powerhouses of writing and acting.
Season 3 had about as many stinkers as it did gems.
Which were the stinkers?
Oh, the Lazarus Experiment, the Shakespeare Code, 42, most famously, the Chris.
Oh, 42 sucked ass. Yeah.
Even the Dalek
by Chibnall.
Even the Dalek 2-part did not resonate well with folks, and it's largely
with the human
regarded
Daleks in Manhattan.
Yeah, quite a few stinkers season 3, but those gems.
I didn't mind the Daleks in Manhattan pair. I thought they were okay, but then I also liked the one with the traffic jam. I like that.
Gridlock. Yeah, Russell recently said that's the episode he considers to be the best episode he's written, which was a very unusual choice. Yeah.
I like that episode. I've never.
There was like a CBBC interview with like this little 5-year-old girl, and she said, like, you know, what's the best episode you've written? And he said, oh, I did write one set in a traffic jam, and I always think back fondly on that one.
Yeah, so the traffic jam forever. Yeah.
But I've been watching Doctor Who Confidential, and I love seeing all the behind the scenes stuff that went into all that. You know, like all the little
Yeah, I dug
attentions
all
to
that.
detail of the design of the different species and the different houses inside these little cars. It's so fascinating.
The thing I like about and I'm sure one day we may get to it. The thing I like about Gridlock is the fact that it's got all the elements you would look for in a decent story. Like you've got an oppressed people who have suffered for in an episode of Doctor Who. You know, it's just people who have suffered for an incredibly long amount of time. There's no hope. There's no help. And then it turns out to all just be because of like some accident, and they were actually there to save their lives. And so they've been in a traffic jam for like 100 years or more. Some people, I think, were born in the traffic jam. Is that what they say in the episode?
Yeah.
And then it's easily resolved by the Doctor because he's just the Doctor. But you also get scenes like where he's climbing between the levels of traffic, and I just think that's fucking cool. I don't know why.
And it's a very fair episode as well, because if Russell was to make that today, it would be very different, because as he's hopping between the different cars, you get to see if you were to say to someone, you know, picture a progressive, you probably think you know, different colored hair and all these sort of things, right? And you did see variations of humans and other species when he went between those different cars. So you had, like, I think a lesbian couple.
There was an elderly lesbian couple.
Exactly. And then
Which
when he
can
goes
only
to, like,
happen if
below,
you've been stuck in a car your whole life, by the way.
Oh yes,
he went to,
and also the cat man and the female, and it's like, oh look, she gave birth to kittens, and it's like, yeah, that's bestial. That
was
weird.
strange when the babies were wholesale kittens. Yeah. Anyway, let's just get back to the topic, shall we?
I was going to say this. So you have
you
have like the elderly lesbian couple, and then you also have what people would normally characterize as like a traditional white male. You have the guy in the suit; he's all dressed up. He's very much traditional in how his car is decorated and all that. But even though those people are polar opposites, those, you know, the older sort of white gentleman and then the elderly couple, when it comes to all the humans banding together to get out of captivity, that's what they do. They don't, if he was to be made today, they'd be like, oh, this is the white male, he's bad.
Absolutely.
You know, but they all come together, and it was very uniting, and that's what Doctor Who did. It did unify people regardless of petty differences.
Right there, that's one of the things that I loved about Doctor Who when I started watching it back in like 2008. I just loved that. It was so optimistic all the time, like showing the best of humanity. And now it seems to be just the scum. And yeah, you just know that instead of like a you know, like a mistake that led to a disaster in the upper level, and they sealed them in the traffic jams to save them from the virus or whatever it was. Instead of that, it would be like some guy's fault, some big boss man's
Orange
fault,
man bad,
and it would be Donald Trump. Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. It would be Donald Trump.
I mean, that line from Capaldi's last story where he says some things are certain in this world: war, sewage, poverty, and people like Donald Trump. Was like they actually addressed him by name. That was shocking.
I forgot about that.
I believe it's in The Doctor Falls. I could be wrong about that, but it is said in that season.
The face of Bo would be orange. Yeah, it would be Jack. Jack becomes Trump. Kind of like how Garrison becomes Trump in South Park. All right, so Rogue, do we need to say anything about this? I suppose the only thing worth mentioning is this shot here where he's got a hologram of David Tennant because they can't let go of David Tennant. I think we talked about that last time quite a bit. I just hate everything about this. It just does not compute.
It just feels so venereal.
Forced. I was going to say, but venereal, okay.
No, not as in venereal disease, folks. It's like...
You mean fake, like a veneer?
Yes, it just seems so fraudulent. It's the 21st century cosplaying as the 19th century, but we can see straight through it.
Yeah. It doesn't work at all. I'm not convinced. I'm not even convinced by the guy on the left. I mean, maybe you're right.
So
maybe he's a time agent, but even he somehow looks kind of anachronistic, you know?
It looks so glossy, Will. It looks so
It doesn't look like they've
And
it looks modern. It looks too modern. For Blackadder looks more believable than this. You know?
Yeah, it
I don't
looks
know.
too polished and too artificial.
The look on his face, Gatwa's face, is like look how
if it
fucking
was
chic I am.
if it was a hologram, if it was a procedurally generated world, that's too good to be true, that would be good for the story, but it probably isn't.
Yeah, like in Star Trek, there's that one.
Sorry, he's trying to bait Ryan in the chat. Is it
it's sort of like the Next Generation episode where they get lured to the planet and it's a massive casino and it's all it's sort of like that.
I still have PTSD about casino planets from Last Jedi. Oh well, moving on. That's episode 6. I have nothing particular to say about it. I'm sure I'm going to hate it. The Legend of Ruby Sunday. We don't really know anything about it. There's no other shots been given. The penultimate episode will probably explain the mystery of Ruby Sunday, I suppose.
Yeah, because the teaser here has all the cameras, which in the Church on Ruby Road, she was on that long lost family show, and obviously she was being recorded and that sort of thing. So it's linking back to that, and we'll most likely find out who her mother is. Which the common consensus amongst the people who are still interested is that Ruby will be her own mother. She will somehow give birth to herself.
Heard that one before. Also, well, we'll get to them. We'll get to it because that is the next topic.
That's disgusting.
And Empire of Death. Again, we know almost nothing about it. It's just that it might have that big dead TARDIS look with all the flowers around it. It's been there for hundreds of years. And all we know is this. This is the TARDIS and Empire of Death. I don't know. I mean, I like the title, I guess. It sounds like it might be serious, which... the season finales of the RTD era originally were pretty good. They upped the stakes. It always ended with some like apocalyptic event that needed some serious effort from the Doctor to actually rectify. So
that's why they were two-parters. Almost all of them were two-parters, whether it was against the Daleks and then with the second season
it was the Daleks, then the Daleks and the Cybermen,
then the Master,
and then the Daleks again, but with Davros this time.
You had a Bad Wolf, Passing of the Ways, that was season 1, and then season 2 you had Army of Ghosts, Doomsday. In season 3, I mean, you could kind of consider it a trilogy with Utopia, Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, and then season 4 you had Stolen Earth, Journey's End. And then even with the special
you could actually
part 1 and 2.
You could include Turn Left to some extent at the end of season 4 because it introduces the concept that Rose may be able to bleed back through before the episode, and it ends with Bad Wolf being written all over everything.
And one of the best episodes of season 4, and it includes his brigade, but not the man himself, the trickster. They'll never use him because the guy who created him is apparently transphobic. Gareth Roberts.
Oh, yeah. The trickster was like the best villain in the Sarah Jane Adventures. And if they utilized him well, that you could create some banger stories out of that.
Oh, yes. Very one-dimensional villain once you know how to beat him, much like the Slitheen with Vinegar. But for those who are...
Oh my God, I forgot about that as well. God, it's been too long.
I mean, before the Vinegar, it's like, how the fuck are we supposed to stop these creatures?
There really isn't much you can do, is there?
But for those who are uninitiated, who don't know the weakness, the characters like the Slitheen, characters like the Trickster, are impactful villains.
Even though the Slitheen looked completely ridiculous, they managed to be pretty horrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially
like if you use the trickster right, you can have it so that the companion has been created or has come to being because of a change that the trickster's done, and then in the finale the Doctor has to make the hard decision of either allowing the companion to still live and allowing trouble to endure, or he can sacrifice the companion and save the world. That would make for an interesting story, but that'd require good writing and competent writers.
The reason why the trickster has not returned is because he's having a field day. He's having all the chaos he wants, all the food, all the drink. This universe is so fucked up that he is literally obese. He's drinking just like Will. It's like, I don't need to fight the doctor. It's not even the bloody doctor anymore. I'm having a field day.
This is Pepsi, baby. You know me, shill of the cans. Anyway, I'm just going to do quickly. I'm going to shout out because TJAP Steve has gifted 5 Will of the Fans memberships. Thank you very, 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 very much. Where's your air horn? There it is. Love to see it. Turning everybody green. And LOD689 gifted 1 more Will of the Fans membership. Thank you very, very much. You love to see a sea of green in the chat. Gotta see it. It's gotta be done. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate all the support you guys give me every time I stream. It's amazing. Maybe I deserve it. Maybe I don't. Who knows?
Nice tits.
But there you go. So there we go. That took a while to load. I was kind of vamping for a second there. For some reason, it didn't work. So what I thought would be kind of cool, because we are presumably going to watch all of these in the next, 3-4 weeks and review them probably on this show as well as probably individually. Let's make some predictions maybe. What do you reckon? So, I mean, I'm not saying we have to do like a hell of a lot of work on this or anything, but I was thinking, what if we had like, what episode do you think will be the best, the worst, and what will be, say, the dark horse that you think is going to suck, but you're open that it could end up becoming like one of the best?
I think that 73 yards will be the best. I think it'll be its own self-contained thing. It'll be much darker, and I think I'll lean more towards that. I think that Space Babies will be... I don't think it'll have a lot of messaging. I think it'll be inoffensive, but it's going to be very dumb and forgettable. I think the worst one in terms of messaging could be Dot and Bubble, depending on how they handle the topic of the internet technology. Obviously, I'm intrigued about the mystery surrounding Ruby. So the Legend of Ruby Sunday will have that going for it. In terms of the mystery, let's see. So we have the mystery with her mother. So it can't really be an effective mystery unless we already know who the mother is. Like if it's just if she lifts up the hood, oh, I'm this woman. Okay, well, who the hell are you? Why does it matter? So a mystery can only really work if it's a character that we already know, or it's a character that is actually someone else, and we find out it's actually her mother. So it will either be her. Then you have the Mrs. Flood woman, which people think Flood, Rain. Rain is an anagram of Rani. It could be the Rani, because she hasn't been brought into the revival of Doctor Who. So
yeah.
I mean, it's very limited. People say it could be anyone, but really a mystery can only work if it is something that you already know and it's recontextualized. Otherwise, if it's just a random woman, oh, I'm actually your mother, and it's like, well, who the hell are you? It doesn't really work. So the options are very limited. But in terms of individual episodes, that's why I think 73 yards will be the best, because it'll be its own self-contained thing. But then, if Dot and Bubble is handled well, that could be good, because, as Ryan said, it doesn't look like it's going to feature a lot of the Doctor, which Shooty Gat's was probably going to be the worst aspect of this season, just automatically being him. So if he isn't in it, then it does have potential of being good.
I personally think...
So, final answers?
Well, go on. Goldie, go on.
Best, worst, dark horse. Best, worst, and dark horse.
So dark horse being... what would I characterize that as?
So...
something that's black and that's a horse.
Something that you think you're open that it might give you a pleasant surprise.
Okay, so 73 yards best.
Yeah.
Worst will probably be Devil's Cord, and dark horse, Dot and Bubble.
Dark horse, Dot and Bubble. Okay, cool. I got them. What about you, Ryan?
It does have the potential of being good.
Well, I'll be clear and concise in my analysis. I personally think Dot and Bubble will have the least amount of the Doctor in it. So I think that will be the best episode. I personally think that the worst episode, it's a toss-up between Space Babies and Rogue. I'm going to say Rogue, because that just screams fake from what we've seen. And the most promotional material we've actually seen from this lineup has been from Rogue. So, yeah, I think Rogue is going to be absolutely awful. In regards to Dark Horse, Boom, because I think it has the most potential in that regard. You know, action, adventure type stuff. Stephen Moffat is the most competent writer in that writing team. And one of the other reasons why I think Rogue is going to be god-awful is because 2 women are writing it.
I noticed that. It's been written by Kate Herron and I never know how to pronounce that
Bryony.
name. Is it, or is it Brioni? Because I've heard both.
Brony.
Brony. Oh my god. That was the start,
they also
wasn't it?
prove, just like the Rippaverse, folks, Doctor Who proves that it takes 2 women to do a man's job.
Jesus Christ.
Usually when you have multiple writers, like loads and loads of writers, it's not a good sign. I mean, the meme going around of Star Trek Discovery, and it has like 7 executive producers or something. Yeah.
My God. Well, I want to be a bit different, so I guess I'll just say that Boom, I think, will probably be the best because it's Moffat. That is just a stupid bet. This is for nothing, just clout, I guess. Worst, I don't know. I guess if I was thinking objectively, the worst, it's either for me got to be either the Devil's Cord or Rogue, because both of them just have triggered so many red flags in my mind for messaging and stuff like that. Like, do I have to look at Jinx Monsoon for that long, and listen to that fucking voice? Or Rogue, because it will just be anachronistic sludge that tries to tell you that there were like 40% black people in the courts in the Regency era.
Oh, I thought you meant criminal courts.
No, not those kind of courts, like as in the going to court, as in to I can never remember, like, it's like just the Regency, the aristocracy.
I mean, the reason why there are 2 episodes dropping at once is because Space Babies is so goddamn awful that the Devil's Cord could salvage it for them. That's why I said it was a toss-up between Space Babies and Rogue, because the whole concept of Space Babies and the monsters hunting them, it just doesn't make any sense, even from a fantastical perspective. And of course, the Rogue episode screams fraudulent. It screams nonsensical. Maybe it is matching up to its namesake. It is Rogue in that it is god awful. So yeah.
The only thing that intrigues me a little about Rogue is the fact that if Goldy is right, then we have a potential time agent in play again, which could be fun. I'm being so optimistic, aren't I? Okay, I guess the presence of Jinx Monsoon is more offensive to me than changing history. Wow, I never thought I'd say that. So I guess I'll go with Devil's Cord as worst, and I guess Space Babies maybe or Dot and Bubble, I guess, for Dark Horse, because you guys have piqued my interest with that one now. So there we go. Everybody remember what you said. I've got some of them written down, and we will see how we feel at the end of the series. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I mean, I predicted that we'd have 3 great 60th anniversary specials, and I was very wrong about that.
Well, it's all experience,
We'll be lucky to get a passable episode of Doctor Who, and if my prediction is correct, the only passable episode of Doctor Who, just like in the Whittaker era with the first season, was the episode where the Doctor had barely any input. The other characters, the one-off characters, were more commendable, and the bad guy had a point but got wiped out by a venomous doctor. So yeah, go Dot and Bubble. Yeah, no doctor, barely any doctor, and the side characters, the one-off characters, are the more compelling. And the villain has a point, but who the fuck cares? The doctor just wipes them out. That's Dot and Bubble.
All right, interesting. I guess more interesting than what I was thinking anyway, which is more or less nothing. If you in the chat would like to let us know or participate in this with us, I'll make some notes. Just let me know, drop a chat, and I will take notes. And for the meanwhile, we've got the mods telling me that we've got 43 likes, which is very good for this very new, very young show. So be proud of yourselves there in the chat, everybody. Thank you very much. Very much indeed. So shall we tackle the mystery of Ruby the Hooker Sunday now? I guess we kind of have to, because this is so stupid. It's so stupid. I mean, I know that Doctor Who fans are always speculating about what the hell something might be.
Your light, Will?
It's almost as stupid as my light, mate. Almost. We'll find out. We haven't. It's only it's Schrodinger's stupid plot twist at the moment. We don't know just exactly how stupid it could be. But we have seen a couple of things here. Season 15 images confirming 2 companions for Ncuti Gatwa for season 2. Apparently, is that right, or is that in season 1? No, season 15, right? So apparently, in season 15, they're both going to appear.
Oh, no wonder he looks happy. It's a nice threesome for him.
He's gay, dude.
Hey, the pimp's gaining his hose. Hey, he's probably like one of those fake gays who pretends to be a homosexual just to attract females.
Like Ezra Miller.
You mean like a simp, a beta simp? But
I see the way he's smiling at Gibson, yeah, and at the brown female as well. Yeah, he's cosplaying.
Do you think you're gonna? This is a fucking revelation. WhoTF Live Episode 3. Ryan believes that Ncuti Gatwa is secretly super straight. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, he's pretending to be a homosexual to bring attractive women to him so he can have dalliances with them. It's the perfect act. It's an act within an act. Gatwa, whose first name is very difficult to pronounce, is a quintessential method actor.
Just think Ncuti Bang Bang.
Ncuti.
Like it's not. That sounds like a Crash Bandicoot villain.
He should have a fucking N branded
Dr.
on his
Ncuti.
forehead.
Oh my God! Stop talking about branding black people, Ryan. Are we still monetized?
I think that this is sort of an attempt
just about
by the BBC and Disney to do damage control, because we had all the articles coming out that Millie Gibson was fired from Doctor Who, or she was sort of silently removed, and loads of people, of course, have been up in arms about that. And then we saw the set photos with Ncuti Gatwa and Virada Sethu. And it's funny because this is sort of
Narada. I always do.
Yeah. It's strange because all the set photos we've seen with Ncuti and Virada, there's been no Millie present. So, and because the initial article said that Millie was going to be in a few episodes in season 2, but then Virada would become the main companion. So maybe they are technically correct when it says that he may have 2 companions, because either he'll have her for the first half and then Virada will come in, or there'll be an episode where they're all together. So technically they can say he has 2 companions. Because I don't think that Millie's going to be a full-time companion in season 2, because we haven't seen any set photos with her. It's all just been Ncuti and Virada. So I think this could be a little bit of damage control. They don't want another Christopher Eccleston situation. I think,
it could be. Yep.
There's been a huge conversation about what happened with her, because she kind of just left abruptly. I mean, and also if she wasn't fired or anything like this, then why didn't she provide a statement? Because all the reports came out saying that, Millie Gibson's left or she's been fired, and all she did was like on Instagram link the articles and put like a love heart, and she was very cryptic. So if it was all just BS and no, she's still a full-time companion for season 2, then why wouldn't she just say, no, don't worry guys, I'm sticking around? It's very weird. It comes across as damage control to me. Because if she is actually leaving and we already know that, then it's going to kind of take a lot of eyes away from season 1, because we know that she's not going to survive, or she just won't be in the show. She'll be written out.
It was a big fuck up announcing that she was, or letting it slip out anyway, that she was going to leave after the first season. A lot of people, myself included, immediately saw that as like a vote of no confidence in the direction going forward, and everything like some kind of behind the scenes trouble or something, because most people wouldn't abandon a steady paycheck like she had to do one season of TV and then off into the wilderness you go. It doesn't seem like a solid bet, even for a young, hot woman.
Well, maybe she had a good time with N. Cutty and decided, well, I just can't.
I want to see that now.
Guy.
Someone draw him in Crash Bandicoot artwork style with N.
Hey, I'm an artist. I could draw N.
No,
Cutty
not your drawings. Not
I
your
don't want to see your
drawings.
drawings, man. Your drawings are terrifying.
He's going to be all red and green.
There we go. There's the monster. Hang on.
Hey,
off the screen
this is Iman Rich, the Swag Lord. I drew one of his Instagram pictures, and it took me an hour, so it's not as good. So here you go, Iman. You are Jamaican. There's no native in you, my good man.
I just assumed that was another picture to dig at Atreus.
No, and this.
I think he has used it to dig at Atreus before.
Eric July.
Oh, that's it. Eric July.
There we
That's
go.
who you were digging at.
It's a very interesting style you have adopted, Ryan. All the reds, greens, and blues.
Sort
These
of like
are the only
Picasso
colors I
meets
have.
Dali.
I don't have yellow, so I have to make do with red.
Are you using whiteboard markers for them or
Yes.
something? Oh, right. I see. Well, somebody splurge on Ryan's next stream so he can buy some proper pens. There you go.
No. Buy
It's
me
a paper.
more pens of different colors. Yellow, purple. Purple would be great.
You could try like using
Brown.
different media.
Brown.
Like all right, well, brown, yeah, of course, your favorite color. Excuse me, I just have a mild coughing fit there.
No, white is my favorite color, Will.
Oh, yes, that's right. The absence of color. So anyway, we are going to have to talk about this then. Have you guys heard about this? Because it's been making me laugh for a couple of days now.
Oh.
Well,
Ruby Sunday might be a Time Lord.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I think it would surprise me. I mean, it's just, I just think
For that.
this is just tragic if they have to do this, because first of all, right, if we were to assume that this is actually a thing, they're just copying what they did with River Song, right?
And they just bi-generate, and that's how the blacker female version comes around, because of the bi-generation. Yeah. And the browner one, Verada, instead of like with David Tennant and N. Cutty Gatwa, with Millie and Verada, they split from the Fanny, and that's how they
The Fanny. What are you, 8? Okay, well,
I mean, it would have to be a bi-generation because Scream Rant can't even make their own mind up, because they've said Shooty's going to have 2 companions. So if she does traditionally regenerate into Verada Sethu, then they are kind of admitting that no, it is going to be one full-time companion.
It's strange. I mean, first of all, they said she was going to leave. Then they realized that had really put people's backs up. I'm not sure why. They hadn't even seen her yet. I think that was the problem. It really is an alarm bell when you haven't even seen a single episode, apart from her debut. And they're already talking about the next person. And I think they thought that it was going to be like news to say, oh, but we're already making the next season, so don't worry, guys, we're not going anywhere. But instead, it's like, okay, did you make a fuck up when you cast her? Was she trouble, or was she victimized by somebody, or did something happen?
She could be the big bad, stabs the Doctor in the back, and becomes the new Doctor. That would be fantastic. She certainly looks far better than Gatwa, I'll tell you that. Jodie Whittaker done right.
Oh my god. I mean, so the what I'm hearing is that they're basically, my god, this light, I'm just going to retire.
How much did it cost you, Will? How much was that light?
I don't remember, but it wasn't very expensive.
Mine was £15, and it's been working strong for 3 years. Gives
probably
me the
like
occasional headache, but it really makes me white.
I'm sure it's got something to do with the power supply. I'll sort it out later. But anyway, to the point. We have got it's doing it. See, it's done it again. You snide bastard! I will.
Hey, Goldy, you don't have this problem, and neither do I.
No, look, okay. So obviously, with River Song, we know what happened. That she was conceived in the TARDIS by Amy Pond and Rory. Then what happened? She was in 1969 as a child, and then she showed up again as River Song. I know Melanie, who was childhood friends with her own mother, and then she evolved into River Song as we know her. And then
it was Stephen Moffat doing his sort of like dumb fan fiction writing of, if a baby's conceived in the TARDIS, then they just become a Time Lord for some reason.
I mean, I could see it, I guess. I didn't mind it, actually. I really didn't.
You could push that logic as well. You know, having relations in the TARDIS makes you a Time Lord. So that would mean Amy's a Time Lord, Rory's a Time Lord, Millie Gibson's a Time Lord because she and N. Cutty did it, because, that's how he gets them. And then, by generation, he gets 2, and then they do it. Just turn Doctor Who into a sex show. More people would fucking watch it.
I mean, they had that flirtatious side of River Song as well, which was kind of cringe at times. Like,
that's what bothered me. She was a lot like, so the Doctor kind of played the role of Batman, and River Song was kind of like Catwoman, but she was kind of over sexualized. I think if they toned it down a bit, she would have been more sort of likable.
Yeah, it got a bit out of hand later, I think. She was pretty cool in her first appearance. Of course, all her appearances are out of sync with the Doctor, so he meets her in the wrong order. But I didn't have a big problem with River Song, really. But I do think like it got a bit ridiculous when she's like wearing leather cat suits and like suddenly she's ultra badass femme fatale character, when before she was an archaeologist with a bit of a catty attitude.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, that drove me nuts a bit. Yeah. I don't know. I like the performance. I'm just not sure if the character fit Doctor Who. At the time, I really liked her, but I'd have to watch it again, honestly, to really go over it. And when I think about it in hindsight, I think, yeah, that was kind of really annoying to try and keep up with. But no one else had the balls to try and push the envelope plot-wise. Like, it just became very formulaic after a while, and at least Moffat tried other things, I guess. I mean, you can tell how much he loved the show because he wanted to add these crazy canonical time-twisty plots into it, which can work, can also be really hackneyed. But apparently the theory here is Ruby is not like River Song. She could be like River Song, but apparently she could unknowingly be a Time Lord. Now, there are a lot of reasons people have given for this. With many, like she's the Rani, she's Romana come back somehow, and that she will regenerate into Varada Sethu. This is the claim. And the other one that I saw was that she is fucking hell, who is she? I can't think. She's like the Master or someone, but regenerated into a baby, and that's why there's no parents. Or the worst one I heard. You want to hear the absolute worst one that I heard? I'm going to see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go on the screen. Someone put a few pieces of the dialogue from the Church on Ruby World, for some reason they've written, have made me think that Rose and Meta 10 could be Ruby's parents. So Rose Tyler in parallel universe and the Metacrisis human doctor David Tennant would be somehow the parents of Ruby Sunday.
The 10th Doctor did give the Metacrisis Doctor a TARDIS, a piece of the TARDIS that would grow into a full-fledged TARDIS, so that could fit in with the dying and decaying TARDIS we saw in the trailer. And it would also allow Russell to bring back Tennant again.
Yes, but he gave him that piece, but that universe doesn't accept that piece's energy source. We saw that with Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel. They couldn't power it with anything. So he basically gave him that piece, grow that piece, but it's from the other universe. He can't power it up. He's fucked.
Which,
yeah,
maybe...
that's actually true, yeah.
I mean, when Tennant ripped up a piece of his TARDIS, he said that he breathed on it, didn't he? And he said that he's a part of the other universe, so that would power his TARDIS. So perhaps him taking a piece of his TARDIS gives it a sufficient amount of energy for some time, and then that's why it's all decaying, because it runs out of energy and cannot function.
I mean, I just see this as like 1,000,000 to 1 chance that this is the plot they went with, because it would be ultra contrived. I mean, I can't rule it out completely, but I think it would be one of the worst explanations for Ruby Sunday. Because I mean, even the responses here, you can see someone saying, if Rose and the Metacrisis Doctor are the parents, I'll eat a baby.
Hey, a jelly baby.
No, a real baby. And then some cringe dickhead decided to start quoting the songs from the Goblin, lyrics from the Goblin song. So that was enough about that. But I just think if they did that, 8 episodes wouldn't be enough. Like, how can you have a fun romp through time and space? I mean, you can't anyway with all the political messaging. But if you then have to crowbar in the backstory of Rose and the Doctor, like going off to a parallel dimension and staying there forever with a human clone of David Tennant and la 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 la.
Well,
I thought they wanted a clean break.
Well, at this
Isn't
point,
this season 1? Yeah.
At this point, when it comes to Doctor Who, to have a clean break, just rip off a storyline from somewhere else and repackage it in the Doctor Who format. For example, Mass Effect. I mean, the Legendary Edition came out a good few years ago, but if it didn't, it would be an old gaming franchise. Just rip off Mass Effect. The Doctor, season-long arc, discovers the idea of the Reapers, has to, stop someone trying to bring them in, to destroy the galaxy, and just do that. Just rip something off, put it within the Doctor Who universe, and have a compelling villain, compelling characters, that long arc of multiple episodes or seasons. It spans years, and the Doctor ultimately prevails against the Reapers. And yes, there is a race called the Reapers in Doctor Who, and they are quite scary looking as well. So just copy paste. Simple.
Yeah, it's got to be better than trying to crowbar in a backstory from like a 17-year-old plot line with a different version of David Tennant. That, like, because you'd think if you've got people who watch the Christmas episode and you're trying to get new fans, like Disnoid American fans, you're going to have to explain that the 10th Doctor was not the 14th Doctor, and that he regenerated twice, and the first time he stayed himself, but also split into another one that also went into a parallel universe with the woman he had fallen in love with, so that they could exit the show on a happy note instead of a tragedy. That's an awful lot of shit you've got to crowbar into 8 episodes when you claim that you're trying to have a new start.
I mean, literally just replace Commander Shepard with the Doctor. He assembles, the best and the brightest across time and space to take on the Reapers, which they literally go throughout time and space to clean wounds in time. There are plenty of fucking wounds, let's be real, especially given the state of Doctor Who. And they indoctrinate people. Take the idea from Mass Effect. They indoctrinate people to serve the Reapers, and just do that. They're a compelling villain in the Mass Effect universe. the Reapers do
they're
exist.
basically the Borg, right? The Thralls are like the Borg.
Yes, but the Reapers as a character exist in Doctor Who. They were in season 1, so you could twist it in and just do that. Do it.
Sorry, I just noticed the picture of the Goblin King
It's
there.
better than this nonsense.
I mean, okay, so what do you think then? What do you guys actually think is the big secret about fucking Ruby Sunday? Like, because apparently there has to be one. Like, she can't just be an orphan. I mean, okay, that would be kind of boring, but the circumstances
again,
of her
the only
being
one
left
I've already
in
thought
church-
the Mrs. Flood is actually the Rani, because Flood, rain is anagram of Rani. Maybe that's another thing that's throwing us off.
So we're gonna go full Tom Riddle then.
Yeah.
I am Lord
I don't know.
Voldemort. Rain.
I think I'm gonna be face palming at this reveal as well. Because as I say, like, the mystery can only work if the mysterious woman is someone we already know. If it's just she lifts up her hood. Oh, it's a random woman who's never been in the show before. Well, what shock factor does that have? It's just a new character.
It's Tecteun.
Oh no, God, fuck off. No, that's it.
Ruby is one of the timeless children that Bhoy generated.
She's the Doctor.
Well, that could be how they do it. You know how Tecteun was killing the but you know how Tecteun was killing all the little doctors, all the little children,
all
right?
The children, yeah.
And how the toy maker made it so that every incarnation is bi-generated. Well, that means the timeless children are also bi-generated.
Yeah.
So one of those babies got taken away and taken to the church or whatever.
What, by another order, like the Silence with River Song or something?
Yeah,
I mean, it's been done. Like, all of these have been done. So, okay, so the contenders that I've heard for who Ruby Sunday could be, let's try and make a list because it's getting out of hand. So she could be somehow her own mother. I don't know how. I mean, it worked with Dave Lister in Red Dwarf, but that was because Red Dwarf is a fucking farce. It's a comedy and he's not the woman. Like, so giving birth to yourself, I just don't know how, like, that's ludicrous, right? What do you guys think? What do we give this out of like 10 in terms of likability or likelihood of actually happening? I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. Because I can't rule out that they're retarded enough to do this. But I also think that you would have to do an awful lot of mental gymnastics to figure that out. What do you think?
It wouldn't surprise me. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to be like, what? I'm going to be, oh, of course it is. Of course that's the reason.
You know the most surprising thing about this whole situation is who the fuck defends this? Really?
Mr. TARDIS?
You mean retarded?
Sorry, Mr. Tard. Negative 10 out of 10 from Rev Ravenwolf. Thank you. So we've got mother of her. She's her own mother. I say it's very unlikely. 3
Appeal
out of 10.
to an American audience. I mean, incest.
Oh, for God's sake. All right. Sorry if you're American in the chat. I know most people here.
Appeal to an American audience, an interracial relationship.
Oh, and by the way, just since I'm addressing the chat quickly, there's some people here who probably don't even know that they could have got free memberships from some of the donations if they just go to the join button and hit the dots and add the setting that allows you to receive a membership when they are gifted. So do make sure you have done that if you want to take advantage of everybody else's generosity. Thank you very much. Anyway, so the other one is that Ruby is the Rani. Now, I think this is even less likely, personally. The reason I think it's even less likely is how long has it been since the Rani was in Doctor Who? 40 years?
Yeah, around that.
Maybe more. I can't actually remember. I'm going to have to do a quick Google. When did the Rani show up? Mark of the Rani with first appearance 1985. That's my age. So 38 years ago.
39 years ago.
She was in the movie, wasn't she? Or
No, I don't believe so.
No, not in the movie. It was a TV special for children in need. Or something like
Dimensions in Time. I believe that was the EastEnders crossover they did.
Yes, it was. Yeah, a soap opera crossover with Doctor Who, of course, because why not? Did they ever respect this show? So she could be the Rani, but the other reason I think is really, really, really hard work to explain who the Rani is now after she's been gone for so long. And then again, the same reason as why it makes no sense for Ten and Rose to be her parents, because you automatically have to anchor yourself to a fucking huge chunk of the old lore, and they have made out like they really don't want to be tied to the old lore. So what do you reckon? More likely or less likely than she's her own mother, or Metacrisis and Rose are the parents?
I would say less likely. Although, again, I really wouldn't be surprised.
All right, so 2 out of 10 for that, I guess, that she's the Rani.
Yeah.
So what's this?
What's
What's the Mrs. Flood thing again? You were explaining it to me, but I was trying to collate all of these options at the time.
Well, some people think that Ruby, grows up to be Mrs. Flood. Could be the case, but people have linked Flood with Rain. Rain is an anagram of Rani, so perhaps that's her. Obviously, she has some history with the Doctor or Time Lords. She didn't really seem to be shocked at all by the sight of the TARDIS. She looked at the camera and said, "Have you never seen the TARDIS before?"
Yeah, that was cringe, wasn't it?
It could be another past companion, but again, how much they want to rely on older lore, who knows? It could be a case of this is a loop thing where, again, Ruby does grow up to be Mrs. Flood and something happens in the future, so she's warning her younger self or something of that nature. But she seems to be more of a villain the way they've been teasing it.
She looks malicious as hell at the end there when she gives that evil grin. It's like a wicked old lady grin.
I mean, for all we know, Ruby Sunday could be the Minister of fucking War. At this point, we have no idea.
Was Anita Dobson, wasn't it, who played Mrs. Flood?
Yeah.
And she was in... What was she in? Was she in EastEnders? Or yeah, she was. She played Angie Watts in EastEnders. So I guess the Dimensions in Time crossover could come into play. And that was the last appearance of the Rani. Oh, for fuck's sake. Are you hearing this?
Yep. I do believe that this is the type of road that Russell would go down.
Yeah, Dimensions in Time was in 1993. So that would have been after Anita Dobson left EastEnders. But, oh, Jesus, I can't believe the shit I'm having to talk about on this live stream. You poor people having to listen to this. Don't go anywhere, please. Anyway, that's cringe. So she's her own mother.
Imagine
not likely.
Phil Mitchell comes in at the end, starts beating up some aliens.
You fucking slag! Just knocks one out. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Ruby Lethbridge Stewart. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, at this point, she could be freaking Clara's daughter or something. Oh, no. What are they going to do with this character? I mean, I don't know what they can do that would be good. Can you come up with anything?
The big reveal.
What would be like a lesbian? Dirty Den appears and beats up the Doctor. Yeah, right. What would be like the best case scenario that you can think of for an explanation of why Ruby Sunday is important? Has to leave the series, but still somehow manages to stay around in season 15 and doesn't die. Like,
I really don't know. I just hate all this mystery box stuff.
It is shit.
It's gone too old.
It's the J.J. Abrams school of storytelling. It's just
she is the Doctor.
Okay. What do we reckon the likelihood of that? Ruby is the Doctor.
Okay. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me because then they people could say that the Doctor is sort of Shootie's made it out and other cast members have made out like he's the Doctor's going to be gay, and they did set that up in World Blue Yonder. So perhaps they could say that even though Ruby is of the other gender, is still the Doctor. So there's some sort of love there of himself, and I'm just thinking along their lines. I mean, if I was writing this, it would not be anywhere near this territory. But I'm trying to think. Right, this is Russell. What is he thinking?
The only way I could see this happening
the
is
timeless children bi-generated however many times, and everyone's the Doctor. And
so, if you were to, God damn it, why am I doing this work for you, Russell? You don't deserve it, you bastard. If we assume that all the Doctors that ever existed, including all of the timeless children, have in fact bi-generated retroactively because Russell T Davies has spurged out and decided to start writing the story in 5D, then I guess that then raises the obvious question, the one that we were laughing about, which is if they then regenerate, if 14 regenerates, does he again regenerate into Shooty, or is it completely random? So he could regenerate into a completely different branch of the Doctor with different faces and a different regeneration. Is it a lottery or is it planned? Because that's the sort of question Russell's going to have to answer. If we assume it's a lottery and we assume that they can get younger looking physical appearance with regenerations, which they can because we saw it with Tennant to Smith, she could technically be one of the timeless children who regenerated into a baby, and thus she would be the Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, they did talk about the timeless children in the Christmas special, so it's another way of reaffirming it.
At this point,
some people tell me in the comments that I've never watched Doctor Who before. Some people like to come into my comments and say, "This guy's never watched Doctor Who."
They're not people.
Are you mental? How can I cook up
Will,
like that?
Communists and bots are not people.
Yeah,
come on,
true, no, they're not. So that's the only way I can think of it. Can you think of anything? What the fuck? Turn into Bill Clinton. Why?
It's so random.
That's the most random thing I've seen. That's fucking random.
Oh dear.
That's more random.
Off to the island, boys.
Yeah. Epstein's here, boys. Fuck. Oh my god.
Off to see the space babies.
That's where they came from.
Reality based is really rubbing off on you, isn't it? Oh my.
Ruby is Epstein. He didn't kill himself, he just regenerated.
No, he bi-generated, Will. It's how they breed. They bi-generate.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's such unbelievably bad writing. Oh, all of this is so bad. It's so terrible that these are actually viable. Anybody, and I mean anybody, could be the Doctor at this point. Like literally anybody could secretly. Mickey could turn out to be the bloody Doctor.
It's a race now. There's no time.
All you need is for them to have put a chameleon arc on and trap their Time Lord self in a pocket watch or whatever, and you've got yourself a Time Lord who doesn't know they're a Time Lord. But why does the solution to all this shit always have to be it's a Time Lord? It's
because everything has to be self-referential. There can be no sort of new story or new path that they go down. Everything has to link to something from before, and yeah, it's all the same cycle.
Yeah, it is that. It's the same as when did this happen to entertainment? Like, at what point did we just completely run out of ideas? Like, because it's the same thing with Star Wars, with apart from all the woke messaging, the absence of any creativity, any imagination. like any risk taking.
Well, I personally believe, Will, that there does come a point when folks and societies run out of ideas. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. And that usually happens when you're number one for so long. You don't remember how you got there because everyone who got you there is either dead or dying. So it is a side effect of being the peak civilization. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. So where do we go? We use the best of the past with the best of the present to create a future. And in a sense, because you're running out of ideas and you're lacking in creativity, I do this all the time. You take bits of everything, you put it together, you create something new. And that's the level of creativity that we have to deal with in this day and age.
I mean, the MCU, some of the writers have admitted that they've been using AI because they haven't got any ideas. They literally getting suggestions from artificial intelligence.
What they're using, the Awesome 4000 or whatever from South Park.
Using Google Gemini, that's people.
Adam Sandler turns out to be like a cocker spaniel or something. It's just
beep boop, make Ultron a good guy. Beep boop.
Yeah, it's that. It's unbearable. There's such mediocrity in it. Steve's got it right there. Yeah, just people just don't seem to know that they've ever had like better entertainment. This is why you should watch the old stuff. This is why physical media is so important. Preserve the greatness that the past generations created, because right now the apparent best that we can muster is just Ruby Sunday might be her own mother, or the Doctor, or the daughter of the fucking Doctor. That's the other one. She might be Jenny.
Who got her pregnant?
Yeah, I know, right?
Nkuti.
Before we wrap up, because we are going to have to wrap up pretty soon. We haven't. We usually run about 2 hours, and we're going over that. But I would like to have got into the older episodes and stuff. We'll structure it a bit better next week. It's the first one back. And also, as an incentive, guys, at some point we will react to the Curse of Fatal Death. Maybe we tie that to like a milestone or a goal or something. We'll talk about it offline. But what do you reckon then to that last one, that she's the Doctor's daughter, Jenny?
Well, it seems feasible. I mean,
a lot of people were saying she should get her own show after, but then it is Georgia Moffat, and people seem to fucking hate her these days.
Oh, she's deranged. She is absolutely deranged.
I don't know much.
You just got
Georgia Tennant.
Just look up her on Instagram, and the first thing you see, you'll just instantly know she's deranged.
Okay, I'll take that. But for the time being, discuss that.
But in terms of in terms of the character, yes, I just keep on thinking back to the holographic image of Tennant. So I'm thinking the idea that Ruby could be Metacrisis and Rose's daughter, that seems feasible, and perhaps the holographic image is them referencing that particular Doctor, or maybe him. Ruby being the Doctor's daughter from the Tennant era, the holographic image could be referring to that as well. So all of these seem very feasible. There is some sort of string of logic to each of these. Yeah, just all of it is.
That's a big black fist right there, isn't it? It shows you what
is that her? Is that her in the bottom? She's got a little tiny micro version of her, like exclaiming with glee at a giant multi-shaded Black Lives Matter fist in front of a trans flag.
That's what she likes
in front of a rainbow ring. Oh my god, this bitch has got more layers than Shrek. Layers of insanity. What the hell else have we got? Oh no. Oh no.
These are actually good pictures. These are very good.
They're not bad. She seems like on the surface like a normal human being, but then there's this.
It's the ideology, Will. It's the indoctrination. As soon as it's switched on, it completely changes people.
Why has she got a picture of a dick on a?
That's art, Will. That's
David Tennant.
Oh my god, David Tennant. Oh, for crap. What the hell? Is that her breastfeeding?
Don't show that.
Yeah, it's
Demonetized.
very weird. Yeah,
Help!
there's-
We've been
if you
demonetized.
look
My
deep
channel
enough,
is under
there's a
attack.
lot of questions. Yeah,
She's breastfeeding like a 4-year-old there. What the hell?
yeah.
Oh,
Gotta keep them fresh, Will, because how else can they have a good time?
Georgia.
There-
I used to think
don't-
she was quite nice.
I don't really like to bring up. I don't really like to bring up like the children and stuff, as I feel that that's kind of a bit mean and unnecessary to do. But there's this one photo where you have Georgia Georgia Tennant and David Tennant on set with their children inside the new TARDIS, and one of them is wearing a shirt which says, "Let's get one thing straight, I'm not." And it seems weird to put that on a child to wear. It seems like a very weird thing to do. But,
That's what the ideology, that's what the
yeah.
indoctrination does. It
I'm a
has to
glutton.
spread from one generation to the other. And without
Oh,
that
wait,
ideology,
is that it
without
there?
that indoctrination, these people are perfectly fine people.
There is one inside of the new TARDIS set.
I'm trying not to linger on any one thing too long because I have no idea what might show. Oh my god, there she is again.
Breastfeeding.
Stop showing me your tits, woman. I don't need to see that. I'm on YouTube.
Weren't these two on a show? Weren't the Tenants on the show with like Michael Sheen? I forgot his fucking name.
Oh, I don't like Michael Sheen.
Sheen.
That guy.
Michael Sheen. Yes, they did a
Really?
show together.
At one point,
and it was like a
everybody wanted
COVID
him-
show.
Staged.
Yes, yeah, I really did enjoy that because
Oh,
it didn't look like they were acting. It just looked like
Well, they did
were
that.
being
They
themselves.
did that other show together, didn't they? I can't
Yeah,
think
the
what it was,
Angels
but
and Demons
Angels,
show
yeah,
on
yeah.
Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. That was all right, I guess.
Will's
I think-
looking for some titty pictures.
No, I'm not. I'm trying desperately to
are?
avoid them so I can find this activist picture with the kid wearing an "I'm not straight" t-shirt. You know what? I'm going down a rabbit hole live here, and I need to get off it right now.
I'll have to send a link to you, but yeah, I'll be able to find it.
Good Omens. Yeah, please send me the link. Actually, I don't know. I don't really know if I care enough anymore. I thought she was quite a nice woman. I'm really disappointed, you know?
I mean, outside the indoctrination, she probably is.
I mean,
Don't you think it's kind of weird
it?
how Peter Davison was cancelled in 2017 for speaking out against Jodie Whittaker being cast as the Doctor, and somehow his daughter is the most progressive one in that space?
Yeah, that's got to be a bit of a schism for those guys.
Well, that's what the education system does. I mean, it infested our institutions at a certain point, and those who were educated before that certain point don't have the indoctrination built into them.
They've both got the crazy eyes. What the hell, man? I used to really respect him, and I used to think she was quite fit. Now I think, please God, don't let them ever anywhere near me in public.
Well, that's a sign, Will. The crazy eyes is a sign of the indoctrination,
Hypnosis,
one of the visual cues of it.
I still can't
I
find that.
I put the link to the photo in the group chat. It does source her Instagram. It does source her Instagram, but of course, you know, we must have scrolled past it. But yeah.
Oh yeah, right. I probably did, yeah, because I was desperately trying to avoid getting demonetized by Georgia Tennant's tits. going into the mouth of a child who has teeth. Oh Jesus Christ! So this is them. Right. Oh, so this is recent then. This is when they were shooting the 60th, and we've got Georgia, their children whose faces are covered up.
Good.
Which so they've got some standards, but one of them says on the t-shirt, "Let's get one thing straight, I'm not." This kid is how old do you reckon? 10? Maybe older. I don't know. Too young to be able to 100% concretely decide something like that. Adam Newman channeling there's something about Mary right there. Oh my God. All right, you know what? I think that'll do for today. I've seen enough insanity from Doctor Who. I don't know about you guys, but whew, terrible. The Running Dragon, sad. The moment we see our celebrities for the people they are, we're sorely disappointed. Yeah, never meet your heroes. I mean, I've had this happen quite a lot. I mean, you're a Star Wars fan, you love Luke Skywalker, then you see Mark Hamill's Twitter,
and his granddaughter,
yeah.
I'd want to meet, Matt Smith or some other actors, but if I was in like a room with David Tennant, I could pass on the idea of like shaking his hand. I just don't care about him.
The thing is, I used to work at charity events, like about 10 years ago. I used to work at charity events around London and Europe, in fact, as far as that. And so I ended up bumping into a lot of these people, and most of them seemed really, really nice. And then just a few years later, they all turned out to be batshit insane. And it's really like disappointing. Like I guess there's something in humans that like makes us want to celebrate things that have entertained us or brought us joy or whatever. That's why we have celebrities, even though they're the most vacuous, useless people in the world. And so you kind of want to build people up. You know what I mean?
Well, they're actors.
And for some reason we're almost completely complicit in celebrity culture for quite a long time. And even now, as jaded as I am, as will of the fans black pill sometimes as I can get, I still feel disappointment when I find out somebody that I used to respect is an utter twat.
It doesn't surprise me, because they are
shouldn't bother me.
Liars.
Yeah. It shouldn't bother me, but it still does from time to time. Yeah, there you go.
The best celebrities are the ones that don't have any social media. They just stay off of,
Agreed.
Like there's some celebrities who, like, when they, finally get in public, it's like their first appearance for 10 years, and you're like, wait, what? Yeah. It's because there's no other way of communication with them.
It's absolutely true. Like, I know we're deviating from Doctor Who a little bit, but Ryan will appreciate this because it's a wrestling reference. CM Punk. CM Punk was, my freaking hero around 2011 with the pipe bomb and all of that stuff. Like, we're going to make wrestling great again. But then, after he left, he turned out to be a maniac leftist, basically a communist who just goes on and on and on and on Twitter about stuff, and blocked me on like 3 different accounts. And then he quit Twitter, right? Disappeared, and I haven't heard from him on any social media for a very long time. And then he comes back to wrestling. I'm finding it a lot easier to cheer for him again now that I can't see every stupid thought that comes out of his bloody Marxist head.
Well, the chaotic aspect about him is a great plus. It's also a great minus. That's why everywhere he goes, he draws an audience, but he can't really stay there because of the chaos he creates, and it's not good when unprofessional people are surrounding him. So get him a good foundation, get him in with the developmental. I'm sure CM Punk would be a great successor to, say, Shawn Michaels for developmental at WWE, because it is the Triple H era, whether we like it or not, folks. Then he can stick it to AEW, have the Wednesday Night War all over.
He doesn't have to. They've just stuck it to themselves. That's for another show. That's not got anything to do with Doctor Who. I guess we will wrap up then, shall we? Episode 3. I know it's only been 3, and it's been so many weeks. I'm sorry, guys. I've got a new modem. It will be okay this time. Episode 3 of WhoTF Live, and don't go anywhere, is in the books. So we will get to our outros. Who would like to go first? Goldy, you're up.
Well, it's been a great stream once again, as we've discussed all the upcoming episodes as well as some of the past material. As for me, I will be doing, I'd say, a couple of videos this week. I'm a bit busy this week, but I'll try and get some videos out, whether that's in regards to the news surrounding Millie Gibson and what seems to be confirmed by the reports, or maybe it's some more Gamergate Star Wars stuff. But that'll be for me on the YouTube front. And in my spare time, I'll be working on my scripts for my alternate Series 11, because I'm setting mine after Capaldi's Regeneration, and I'll be working on those. Really, it's going to be a very slow process, but slowly but surely I will get there, and I'm hoping to, create a good story out of it. So that's all.
Cool, man.
That'll be for me, really.
That's cool. It's good to have projects. Like I got really into my edit earlier on for the new titles because I you do crave some sort of creative outpouring every now and then, something a little bit more, thoughtful than just when I'm doing minimal edits to my standard videos. Even though I have a lot of fun making them, it is nice to get your teeth stuck into something sometimes. Anyway, thank you, Goldy. Is that all from you?
It is.
Okay, Ryan, you're up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to Will of the Fans. See what he did there? Ha ha ha. But as for me, you can check me out at Brian Rogerathe. I am the host and founder of Reality Based. We are planning to have Reality Based music tonight at 9 p.m. UK time. Our guest hasn't confirmed yet, so we don't know if it'll happen or not, or whether we'll have a regulars rampage, because on that show, we have our regulars, send the link to the guest. So there's a bit of a middleman there. So we'll have to get proper confirmation from them. But if we don't have a show, there'll be plenty more videos, but they'll be later than usual. Currently, we'll probably make a video before the show, and then we might make a video after the show, going very lean because I was very tired after Saturday night hypnosis. Had a headache. Managed to sleep it off, though.
For me.
Managed to sleep it off, though, so that's fine. But don't worry, all of next week, no shows, but plenty of videos for you all to enjoy. I'd say at least 30, maybe 40 or 50. But yeah,
Wow.
You know where to find me, right there.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Ryan. So, and thank you both, actually, both my cohorts here. Thank you very much for your attendance and input on all the topics. It's great to talk to people who know what the hell they're talking about with these topics, and I'm sure the people in the chat have enjoyed it too.
And we got a lot of catch up this Tuesday and Thursday as well, Will. Got a lot to catch up on.
We've got loads because we missed a whole bloody week. Thank you to the chat for sticking around. Thank you very much to the mods for helping out. And thanks to everybody who went above and beyond with the donations of memberships, super chats, and what have you. I will be making videos this week again with some regularity. That would be nice. I've got a lot of stuff to catch up on, as Ryan just said, with Gamergate, with Star Wars, with freaking everything that I'm still trying to make time for. So keep an eye on the channel. You will find stuff to watch coming out steadily. On Tuesday, we have WTF Live. And on Thursday, we'll have it again with videos in between every other day, culminating at the end of next week with another episode of WhoTF Live, where we will be preparing for the impending apocalypse of season 114 or 40. For this show, then, that is all. So let's all say goodbye, and I'm going to leave you with the new titles that I spent all day making as we say, see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Start the clock.